Hi guys, today my group will be doing landscape architecture drawing, and first I will introduce my group members. Okay, my name is Wei Ling, and this is Elvis, and this is Loh Wei, and another two is Jessie and Sunny. What is landscape architecture? Basically, landscape architecture is about the art and practice of designing the outdoor environment, and normally it blends the site and planning, landscaping, art and environmental restoration. It also connects an area to the buildings around it and makes the landscape more attractive and looks more pleasant. And the main goal of landscape architecture is create a pleasant and functional space for the people around it. And there are 5 stages for landscape architecture. The first stage is appraisal and defining project scope. And the second is preliminary sketch plans. The third is sketch plans. The fourth is work documentation. And the last is inviting tenders and supervision on execution of work. The process of landscape architecture drawing are divided into 3 stages based on the previous 5 stages. The first is site analysis and data gathering are under the first stage. And the second stage is concept drawing. And the last stage is design, cross-section, graphics, perspective drawing and models. The first stage is appraisal and defining project scope. With the client's approval, the landscape architect needs to visit the site and analyze the data and consult with the client. And he or she also needs to indicate any additional information to the client. And he also needs to define possible guidelines for the project and arrange any special tests or investigations. Advisors are also important where the landscape architect needs to tell their clients whether any significant constraints or opportunities or services they will provide to their clients. These are the example of site analysis. This is the data gathering, and for stage 2 is the preliminary sketch plans. They normally, landscape architect needs to study the project requirements and prepare a design concept in a broad outline. Concept images are something like a landscape architect needs to do something a preview for the client to look at how will the project will look like when it's done. And for stage 3 is the sketch plans. Normally, landscape architect needs to develop a design concept with sufficient details and information to enable them to prepare a sketch plan and a review design to the relevant authorities for something like MBSA.
So here is the bubble plan of the drawings. Bubble plan is the simplest way to generate the idea. So you can see that from a bubble diagram, we can transfer into a quick concept, and finally is a detailed diagram. Here is the plot plan. The plot plan should be involved something like the North Pole, the place, the name of the place, the road, and the types of plants. The next is the planting plan. This plan shows that what plants the landscape architect gonna use in the site. And this comes to cross section. drawings, and this we can know the cross section of the site, like how will the land and the trees can be seen. And finally is graphics. In drawings or graphics, this can show that let our client know the clearest of our design. And this comes to a perspective drawing. This picture shows that this is a one-point perspective drawing. And finally, this is the model of the final product, the landscape. And normally, landscape architects will also use some drawing symbols in their drawings, such as to emphasize the trees and shrubs. This tool is the tools of drawing symbols, the ruler. And this is the symbols of decks and pastures. And here come to the most boring stage is the fourth stage is work documentation. In work documentation, a landscape architect need to prepare a construction documentation to execute the work, and they need to submit information to relevant authorities and obtain the approval of the project. And they also need to prepare a final cost estimate in relation to the budget of the client needs. And they also need to prepare a document to procure offers for the work execution. If needed, they also will provide the additional drawings for their clients. And this is the final stage, which is inviting tenders and supervision on execution of work. In this stage, they will obtain a tenders for the landscape work and advise the client regarding the appointment of a specific tenderer, and they will prepare and sign the appointment of a contract documentation with their client and administer and perform duties assigned to landscape architect in the landscape contract. Here we're gonna show a local example of the landscape architectural. This is the most famous park in our country, which is KLCC Park. And this is the map of KLCC Park. And the other example which we choose to is Gardens by the Bay, which is at Singapore. This is the map view of the gardens. So before the end of our presentation, we're gonna show you guys short videos. So in this video, we can see how is his drawings in landscape architecture. So this is our presentation for today. Thank you.